Hello, my friends. Diana Rankin here with your weekly message from Phillip, my spirit guide. And this week we do answer a viewer's questions. And I want to say if you have questions, just put them in the comments below or give me a call. Hello, Sheila. She says, hello, Diana, with hearts and hugs and waves. So, hello, Sheila. And thank you for always being here. It means a lot. We're going to answer if your questions are of general interest to our audience, please put them in the comments below or give me a call. You can call me with the question. You'll probably have to leave a message, or you can also just put it on my email. Send me an email with the message. But we're going to answer viewers' questions today. And if you want a personal reading, again, give me a call or give me an email with your information and I'll call you. And Sheila says, hello, everyone. Happy Friday. We're so good to have all of you who can make it live. That means a lot. Sheila respelled Friday. We knew what you meant. All right. So we're going to answer one of it's actually two questions. What's the difference between a spirit guide and a religious figure such as Jesus? Can I work with Jesus as a spirit guide? And we're going to answer those questions. We'll also get a message from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip. And as you know, that's an oracle book, and you're just going to open to any page and we'll get our message for the week. All right, my friends. By the way, we are actually having a lovely day today, and the humidity is down a bit. Now, it's still going to be hot, still going to reach 90 degrees, but nothing like some folks are having. And so everybody, please be careful out there wherever you are. And I guess if you're on the south side of the equator, it's the opposite. So be careful, everyone. Guida says, happy Friday to you and enjoy your day. Thank you. All right, here we go. The questions are, what's the difference between a spirit guide and a religious figure such as Jesus? Might help if I put my glasses on. Thank you. And the second question is, can I work with Jesus as a spirit guide? And Phillip says, let us begin. You know, when Phillip says something like, let us begin, you know he's got a lot to say. And he answers everything, I think, so well, and always listen to the last paragraph or two, because that's really the part that I feel the love really comes through. And also, in the time I allow to do this, I don't want to take up hours, but it goes deep, but it doesn't explain everything, because I don't want to take hours. Excuse me. Let us begin by saying there are many spirits in spirit world here to work with you. The choice is yours as to whom you wish to work with. Yes, some are the guides you chose before entering human form. Some are religious figures. Some may come from love and help you grow in love. Some may come from evil, so choose wisely. You know, when I taught the weekend Awakening to Your Deeper Intuition course, I always would say to people, the energy is just energy. And so we attract to us that which we are. And so we don't want to attract the anger. We don't want to attract that which tells us to hurt ourselves or another person. That is not ever coming from love. So anytime you want, you can simply say, only love may come to me. You may say things like, I ban anything unlike love, or any of those words will help you not let this evil energy come to you. Only allow the loving energy to come to you. Okay, Phillip goes on to say, yes, you choose whom to work with. You want to work with only those with Phillip's syntax is different than the way I write, and so sometimes it's difficult. So here we go. I'm going to try that again. Yes, you choose to whom you work with. You want to work with only those who guide you in love. in the best interest of your life and all life. This is true of whether a religious figure and or a spirit guide. That's interesting, that and or, isn't it? Okay, Phillip says, we also wish to say that it is not only one guide you have around you, but many. You have an entire team, the healers, the protectors, and so on. You want to work with the leader always and the others for specific purposes. You can call this guide the leader, the conductor, the main guide, the communicator, for example. I call Phillip the communicator. And think about if you're in a room and there are 20 people around you and they're all talking at once, you're not going to really get the information. So your main guide, your leader, your communicator, your Phillip, that's the being that you're going to be able to understand everybody else. Okay, well, Phillip goes on to say, this being has been with you for many lifetimes, this leader, this spirit guide, has been with you for many lifetimes and will be able to translate the other guide's messages to you into language you can comprehend. This guide is not a religious figure, but can be. Let us explain. Let us say in another life experience you walked with the Rabbi Jesus. This Jesus will speak of many of the same issues as the biblical Jesus, but there are differences. Those who wrote of the Jesus in your Bible did so many years after he had returned to spirit world. I think I read, wow, it's been a long time since I taught religion, and I taught multiple religions at Urbana University, Buddhism, Islam, multiple, as well as Christianity. And it seems to me that I read that the first, in the Second Testament or the New Testament, that the first book about Jesus was written like 200 years after his death or something like that. And I could be wrong about that. It's been a long time since I taught that class. Anyway, over the multiple years since, the Jesus you walked with and the Jesus of today's Christian religion are quite different. So the questions become, are you working with the historic Jesus or the religious Jesus of today? If the Jesus of today, which Jesus are you working with? For there is more than one religious Jesus, or perhaps we should say more than one interpretation of Jesus' teaching. Excuse me, let me get a little swallow here. Thank you. When I was a girl, the church that I went to as a girl, and as you know now, I am not a religious person. I do consider myself a highly spiritual person with a deep belief in love. And to me, God is the love of the energy of love. The question, well, when I was in that church, we didn't believe other Christian churches were Christian because they didn't follow the faith of this particular church. So Catholics, I'm sorry, you were considered heathens. Methodists, not very religious people, etc., etc., etc. So this is why I think Phillip is telling us there are multiple interpretations of Jesus. And in the modern day world, there are Christians who do not follow the teachings of Jesus, but feel they do. The teachings of Jesus are love, caring about each other, feeding the poor, etc., etc. So Phillip goes on to say, the purpose of working with a spirit guide is to help you grow in the ways you choose to live your life while in spirit world before human life. For example, let us say you chose to be a healer. I want to stop here too, and I want to say when I was 5, and some of you have heard this story. When I was 5, I asked the question of why do we talk to Jesus? Why don't we just talk directly to God? Well, I was then sent up to stay in Sunday school with my grandmother instead of where the 5th grade or the 5-year-olds were. The question was never answered. I answered it for myself many, many years later. The answer came to me, we like to have that human contact. So that's why religious is helpful to us. That's why a spirit guide is helpful to us, because we have that higher being who is helping us live our lives. That to me is what a spirit guide or a religious figure, whether the Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, whatever the figure, or Philip, who's not a religious figure, but a spirit guide. Okay. Philip goes on to say, your main guide has been with you since inception of you as a being and throughout multiple lives in human form and in spirit world between human lives. Yes, this guide also works with others. I'm going to stop and tell you a story that some of you have heard, and it just tickles the daylights out of me. One of my friends, and a woman who we became friends after she studied with me for some time, and she started working with Philip. Excuse me. And she asked Philip why we decided that she asked Philip when we were together before, and one of those lifetimes was during medieval times. And she asked Philip why I was the teacher in this lifetime and she was the student. And Philip said, because in that lifetime, in the medieval times, she was the pretty one, and so she had to get married. I had to go study with him. So that just tickles me. It makes me laugh. Okay, Philip goes on to say, in another life, when you walked with a religious figure, such as Jesus, you gained information that you can use as a healer in this life. So it would behoove you to work with Jesus as well as with your spirit guides in this life. So what Philip is saying, yes, you've got the main spirit guide. You've got multiple guides around you as well. And you can also work with someone with a religious figure such as Jesus or the Buddha or whomever, and you already chose doing all of that. So yes, it would be a good idea to work with that being. And chances are you've had another life where you either worked with, you might have been a monk in a monastery, you might have been a monk in an ashram. The religious figure doesn't stop you from working with the spirit guide. The spirit guide doesn't stop you from working with the religious figure. Just make sure the interpretation, the spirit guide is coming in love, and the religious figure is also one of love, not one of destruction. Okay, Philip ends with saying, notice we said guides with an S. There are other healers, guides who can also help you. Ask your main guide to help you connect. So Philip, help me connect with Isadora, is my healer, for example. All who help you in this current human form are part of your soul family, whether the name be Philip or Jesus. I want to repeat that last paragraph. All who help you in this current human form are part of your soul family, whether the name be Philip or Jesus. Take all the help you can get, my friends. Thank you. Guidance says, don't worry about coughing. You are giving us important information, and healing can come through the throat chakra. Yes. And you know, when I'm talking to a client, if my throat gets rough and I have to take a drink of water, thank you, Gilda, very much for that. Really appreciate it. When I take the drink of water, the throat will clear up. But I always know that's not about me. That's about the client. So I will ask the client, what is it you need to speak about? Or where do you not feel you have your own voice or whatever? So thank you, Gilda, for that. Sean O'Donnell asked, will I get my kidney transplant soon? Sean, I would love to answer that, but I'm not in the personal energy of you. If you want to give me a call, not today, because I will not be available, but we can set up something to talk to you about that in more depth. I don't answer personal questions on this forum, but I do answer them in personal. But I will say we are all going to hold you in prayer that you do, and we'll hold you in healing energy. All right, let's get our message for the week, shall we? Oh, I'm hearing right. If you heard right, we're in sync intuitively, and that's a message for all of us. And that's page 41. If you heard left, pay attention because that's a message for you. Okay, if you heard right, here's our message for everyone. When you recognize another's right to believe differently from you, you have begun. When you understand those beliefs, you have learned. When you understand why those beliefs are held, you have grown. All right, here we go. I'm going to read it again. When you recognize another's right to believe differently from you, you have begun. When you understand those beliefs, you have learned. When you understand why those beliefs are held, you have grown. If you heard left, that's page 40. And here is your answer. When you judge another, it is really yourself you are judging. When you judge another, it is really yourself you are judging. Oh, let's not judge. And I always say, when we disagree with another person, let's disagree with the policy. Let's be angry about the policy. Let's not be angry at the person. Let's understand why they believe the way they believe. Sheila says, thank you, Diana. Thank you, Sheila. I love you all, my friends. Thank you. And Sean, we are going to hold you in healing energy. These are some powerful healers who listen to this, and you're being held in healing energy. Thank you all. I love you. And thank you for holding me in my grief of saying goodbye to our beautiful Piper. I know you all miss her. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you for the love you send to us, and thank you for the love you receive from us. See you soon. Love you.